Hi, if you like the video, please remember to subscribe.
Hi, it's Rob from robnonphoto.com with a book review of New York, New York, Masterworks of a Street Peddler, with photographs by George Forss, and it's presented by David Douglas Duncan. This is another one of those old car boots second-hand book shop specials that I picked up recently, and this one has got quite a story behind it. I mean, I didn't know about it at all, but what we have here is that this guy called George Forss basically was and still is, a guy who likes taking photographs of New York City, and then he sells them. But he sells them as a street peddler. And what happened one day in the early 70s, I think, there's George Forss selling his photographs. David Douglas Duncan, who worked for, I think he worked for Life or Time, something like that. It tells you in the book what the story is. Was walking along, saw these prints this guy was selling for like $10 to $15, and started looking at them and thought, oh, you know, this guy's stolen these prints from somebody. They're so good. But then he started to chat to the George and discovered that no, he in fact did take the photographs and did print them himself in his own darkroom. And Douglas was absolutely amazed by the quality of them. Apparently, you know, these were on a par with the prints he'd seen from people like Douglas Adams, people like Ansel Adams. So immediately rushed to see his editor, and from that point on, George Forss became a famous city photographer of New York. And this is a collection of those images with a nice story at the beginning that tells you about what sort of happened. And then there's George Forss again. And then what we have is lots of the images themselves, which, to be honest, are really, really good. Obviously, what we're talking about here is old black and white film photographs, so they tend to be grainy, which means that they're atmospheric. Some are taken on 35mm, some are taken on medium format. All are very good to look at and inspirational. Lots of them are quite different from the sort of traditional sort of scenes of New York that we're used to seeing, and yeah, absolutely lovely. Lots of it tends to be quite high contrast black and white, but they sort of teach us to look at things from a different viewpoint, especially those sort of things that we're used to seeing every day. And it's quite almost, well, yeah, it is emotional to look at old pictures of New York. Or we say, for example, this picture where you've got the Brooklyn Bridge over the top, you know, and there's the twin towers of the World Trade Center. Obviously, we're not going to see that sort of image ever again. Another thing that George Forss was very much into is double exposures, or more exposures, where what you do is you take your camera and you actually leave the film in the same place, but open and close the shutter a number of times in front of different scenes. And he's quite an artist with that. Quality-wise, the book is printed on very, very good paper. I mean, this book here. Let's have a quick look at the beginning. Let's have a look. Here we go. The date on this is, does it say 1984? Okay, so this book could be 26 years old, and the paper hasn't yellowed. It all looks very, very nice indeed. I'm sure you can find it second-hand on Amazon or eBay, but I would say, you know, I think I paid a couple of quid for this. Keep an eye out for it in the second-hand bookshops and in the flea markets. I mean, shops like this, you know, it's Cityscape of New York. You look at the detail in this photograph. The technical expertise is very good indeed, but also, you know, the pure artistry of lots of these images. They're just great images to look at, and definitely a great photo book to flick through, to be inspired. To get you out taking photographs. Now, apparently, if you look for George Forss on the internet now, you do get his website, but I think he's kind of into this one of these theories, you know, where we're all descended from aliens. and his website doesn't really have that many of his photographs on. But let's put the aliens to one side and just enjoy these iconic pictures of New York City and the surrounding areas, because they really are very, very special indeed. Really are excellent. So there we go. So that's New York, New York, Masterworks of a Street Peddler, photographs by George Forss, presented by him with an introduction by David Douglas Duncan. Well worth looking at, even if you're not into cityscapes or landscape photography. There's images in there to inspire one and all. Okay, that's Rob from robnunphoto.com. Thanks for watching.